Welcome back to another episode of the Bear Trap on the Boomer Bust channel, a Bears podcast by a Bears fan. I'm your host, Terry, and today we got a new head coach. It is already starting. I might have to get off the internet, y'all. I think that's what I need to do. I might need to get off the internet. My head's going to explode. I mean, whatever. I'm going to let it go. People can fan in their ways, and over here, better Bears fans, that's what we're going to do. So we have a new head coach, as I said, prior to any of this happening, and as I said with the hiring of Ryan Poles, that we are going to have to wait and see. And there is just the amount of stuff I hear that is just pure BS. Is crazy. And I mean, people just grasping that stuff. And again, it's the off season. I know how that goes. People really want to speculate. They really want to have something to do because the team's not in the playoff. That's cool. But some of the stuff I hear, like this is one thing that I heard from one particular channel covering it. And they were like, oh, well, according to some sources, Matt Eberflus was already putting together his coaching plan or whatever, his plan to be a head coach. And if he was doing that, just imagine what he could do with a game plan. I almost fell out of my seat. What are you talking about? I mean, again, this might not be common knowledge to people that don't coach, but that's something high school coaches do. That's every coach does. Any good coach, I should say, does that. One of the first year I ever coached football, the defensive coordinator there, an assistant head coach, at some point set me and the other new people down. Was like, you should start working on your plan to be a head coach. You should have your own philosophies, blah, 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 X, Y, Z. That is a very common exercise. And so to take something that's small and insignificant as that, and stretch that to, whoa, his game plans must be crazy. We hear he's so detailed. I just can't. It ain't even, again, it's not about being optimistic. It's not about any of that. It's just about being logical. Again, like some of the stuff people pull out as evidence makes no sense. And they make these wild claims with zero proof. The stuff I've been hearing about Ryan Poles, absolutely crazy. And I'm just like, you have no way of knowing that what he did, what he was part of when that happened or anything. And then a bunch of people I keep hearing saying that, well, we got an offensive minded GM. What the hell is an offensive minded GM? Somebody please explain to me what that is. Because last time I checked, in order to be a GM, you can't just be good at one side of the ball. And so the job is to configure. The job is not the philosophy. And this is why I always argue the GM versus head coach thing. It's so stupid to me. The GM's job, very simply, is to get the groceries. Why would that person be in charge and not the person cooking with the groceries? And so the best relationships, everybody says, is when they work together. Yes. But to me, it's much easier to do that when you have a head coach, because the head coach sets the philosophy. If you have a team where the GM is telling the coach that much, it's not a good team. I've never seen it, and I don't think you ever will, because the coaches have to go and coach it. So if my philosophy is X, Y, Z, I need you to go get players type X, Y, and Z. I need you to get those players that fit this scheme. And the best teams are the teams that get players specifically for what they need to do. And so, I mean, there's plenty of examples. One that comes to my mind is the Ravens, the Chiefs, and the Chiefs both of them happen over time. But you continually pick players that are the play type that you need for the type of scheme that you do. And then you make that scheme conducive to what you, whatever the philosophy is and what strengths you have on the roster. And so sometimes people move so backwards. But anyway, I'm off on a tangent. Point being, a lot of people grasping at straws, asking, what does this mean? What does this mean? And I don't understand why we can't wait. I mean, I know the day and age we live, but I don't understand why we can't just wait. You're not going to know. And I said this last time with Ryan Poles, so I'm not going to repeat all that. Okay, so he was the defense coordinator for the Colts, linebackers coach before that. Obviously, you could look at the stats that he did with defense. That won't tell you everything. And frankly, I don't know that matters because, again, the head coach is not a coordinator. The head coach job is very different than just coordinating a unit. And so he's a first-time head coach. He's a first-time GM. There's no pattern to look at. Coach is a little different because you can tell what coaching tree they're from. But that don't always matter, as we saw. And again, so much evidence that if you just look at the Bears, there's so much evidence we just saw, and people still ignoring it. And maybe people forgot. Maybe people have, hindsight 2020. But I remember. I was covering Nagy and Pace when they were hired, and I remember all the things people were saying. And guess what? A lot of it didn't come out to be true. A lot of it didn't mean crap. Oh, well, Andy Reid and Mahomes, so didn't mean nothing. So people really need to understand that these are their own men, and that does not mean they're going to be carbon copies of what they worked with before. So we have to wait and see on that. But again, I think people wanting to get ahead and project what this is going to look like, and it's going to be tough to know. Again, coaches, you could glean a little bit more, but again, so many examples of where that did not even turn out to be true. So we'll hear from them, and we'll start hearing what they say, but even that doesn't matter. The things that matter is the film. And for those that stick been with the channel for years, that's at the end of the day, that's what it is. The stats are okay. All the narratives and the talking mean nothing. It's what's on film. So we'll hear about the philosophy. We'll hear all the right things, but we'll get an idea of what he wants to do, what they want to do, and then we'll see if they actually do that. Pace said some things and how he wanted to shape a team that didn't actually come together. So we'll see. Now, Justin Fields, and this is one of the most annoying discussions right now, is this idea we have to get an offensive minded head coach. I don't understand. I really don't understand. I don't understand. Why do we need to get an offensive minded head coach? First of all, Justin Fields, yes, we put capital into him. And yes, I get it, it's quarterback. People seem to think it's a passing league and that nothing else matters, even though we've seen that's not true. So I get all that. But even still, somebody explain to me why our whole decision has to be based off Justin Fields. I would really love to hear somebody explain that to me. Why does out of a 22 starters, why does our whole decisions have to be based on Justin Fields? Because last time I checked, yes, the supporting cast matters. I say that every draft. The supporting cast matters, and that can elevate or bring down a player. But there is a baseline to where you're going to be a type of player that can elevate others and with others, or you the type that got to be carried along at quarterback. And so if Justin Fields is what we hope he is, and this regime has no ties to him, but if he's what we hope he is and think he can be, then we need to focus on a very logical retooling of the roster. And he should come along with that roster. It shouldn't be hold the presses, only do things for Justin Fields. Justin Fields, despite what a lot of people on TV say, in my opinion, it shouldn't be predicated just on the quarterback and what they can do. I don't 100% believe that. Depending on the quarterback, obviously. So you want to support, you want to call things that is more in his rhythm, more in his wheelhouse, and all that good stuff. Obviously you want to get good pieces regardless, but this idea that everything has to be catered to around just, I don't agree with that. Show me where that made sense and where that worked. First of all, even if it did work, and I don't think it has, I don't believe in that, because the game is not won by one player. I know you listen to social or sports media and they say, Matt Stafford beat Tom Brady. No, Matthew Stafford played the Tampa Bay Bucks defense that busted coverage twice. Tom Brady had nothing to do with that. So I know they talk in terms as if it's just the quarterbacks out there, but it's not. And so there's other people on the team. I don't really care or need to push all my chips into just worrying about how every move affects Justin Fields. That's not what I'm doing. And so there's many examples where that hasn't worked. The one that stands out in my mind the most right now is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, obviously, Urban Meyer had other things going on, but still, you talk about, okay, we're going to get a coach, college mindset, similar to what Trevor Lawrence was going through. Someone that scouted Trevor Lawrence, maybe talked to him, knew about him, and then we're going to draft his running back. Even though we didn't need his running back. But we're going to do this. We're going to do whatever it is just to mold around Trevor Lawrence. And before he got fired, it was not going well. So I don't want to hear that, oh, Urban got fired. Like, yeah, he didn't get fired because of how they were playing, but he could have. Sean McVay, why he made that a whole big thing is because Jared Goff, and then what happened? Traded out. It was another one I was just thinking of. I can't remember, but we've seen it a number of times across the league. Shoot, even the Bears with Trubisky. Let's just go there. I mean, we've seen it a number of times across the league. That crap is not real. You cannot win, you cannot win without a full team. And maybe people are happy to get to the playoffs. Maybe people are happy to maybe get close to a Super Bowl. But to realize the teams that win the Super Bowl and consistently go back, they are teams that understand their roles. Teams that really have a built-in philosophy on both sides of the ball, and they have a culture that wants to compete to win. Not to celebrate, not to be okay with just whatever the bare minimum. They know what the ultimate prize is. It takes time to build that culture, and it takes time for people to get into a scheme, and that's why all this coach flipping is never a good sign for me. Yes, you can continue in a similar scheme with someone from the staff if you got a lot of talent, but what you're able to do is maximize talent when you have a system that people have been in and really understand what they're doing. One of the case in points is the Legion of Boom. There was no over-the-top scheme, X's and O's about it. They ran cover 3. Slight variances, but they're running cover 3. And the reason they can just do that is because everyone knew their role. And people, offenses, I should say, are predicated on waiting for you to mess up assignments. And so when you have a team that knows every time so well what to do in each situation, then it's hard to beat them. And same in offense as well, when you just have teams that know what they're doing. And so that takes time to build. And my point with all that is to say that, again, it's not about this quick turnaround. It's not about, okay, let's just put every ounce of energy we have into the quarterback. It's not that. You got to build the whole team. And it's not anything against anybody because I don't know what they're going to do. But this conversation the fans are having, this discussion about how we should move forward, to me is just really silly. I mean, to be honest, it is really silly. And so we have to wait and see what they're going to do. And then we can start really making judgments. Like, I saw some people, and then people got mad at me. This was so funny. I saw some people talking about give the higher grade. How can you give it a grade? This is just like the draft. Please tell me how you, I mean, the draft, you have way more context, but still, how are you giving this a grade? I don't get what exactly fans think this is. And so again, everybody's talking about the most important hire is the offense coordinator. I don't agree. I don't think everything hinges on Justin Fields. I think people have to really realize that football hasn't changed. As much as we want to talk about it, it hasn't changed. There are different ways to skin a cat. There's different philosophies. There's different schemes. There's different everything. And again, quarterbacks are important, but I don't think it's the quarterback or die. I don't think it's everybody stand back and let the quarterback save us. You can build a team in whatever way you want. It's about how well you execute it. And so many times, coaches, players, everyone has to say that, but the media, the fans, they don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that. I guess it's too boring, but it's true. It doesn't matter what play you call. It doesn't matter all that. It's how you execute it. How well do you execute your stuff? And so that's kind of where I'm at with it. Again, we'll probably get a press conference soon. Might even be today, but I didn't get a chance to upload my thoughts last night, so I'm going to just upload them now. And we'll see what's next. So go down to the comment section. Let me know what you think. Share it around. Get the conversation started. Thumbs up, subscribe, and remember, stay up and bear down.